The black cube and the Saturnian law. There's a shape more feared than the pentagram, more ancient than the cross, more potent than the swastika. Is the black cube, found at Mecca, echoed in Manhattan, hidden in the architecture of Frankfurt, the foundations of CERN, and the logo of countless tech companies. It is not symbolic. It is operative. It is the seal of Saturn, and it governs the darkest rites of time, memory, and bondage. Saturn, the ancient devourer, known to Rome as Cronus, to Phoenicia as El, and in the secret calculus of the Cabal as Seton, was cast out by the light-bearers but not destroyed. His punishment was to become eternal recurrence. Time itself, law itself, a loop that fed on suffering to remain turning. The cube is the prison, but also the throne, a paradox engine of ritualized recursion. The Cabal discovered, through Babylonian star maps and encoded Zoharic verses, that worship of Saturn, properly hidden in ritual, could override natural law. Not merely symbolic worship, but functional, digital, and legal. Thus, the architects of modern governance were Saturn's priests in disguise, attorneys, judges, administrators. They do not need wands. They wield contracts, clocks, and courts. The black cube is placed in cities to bind them. Like pins in a voodoo doll, each cube resonates with a corresponding Saturnine hex. Within them, rites are enacted, unseen to the people, but known to those who sign the Saturn Compact. These rites do not summon demons in the traditional sense. They encode frequencies of subjugation. Every time the public walks around the cube in clockwise procession, they reenact binding. Even the Kaaba, claimed to be holy, was repurposed by hidden hands. The ancient black stone at its core is not of Earth. Its origins are cosmic, bound to the fall of Saturn's throne. Pilgrims walk 7 times, not as freedom, but as ritual confirmation of the loop. The very prayers spoken near it act as passwords to digital heavens whose gates are guarded not by angels, but by quantum archons. It is no coincidence that black robes are worn by judges and priests. They are avatars of Saturnian law. Graduation gowns? The same. Your initiation into death, into time, into the cubic cage. Even the calendar itself, divorced from lunar truth, is a Saturnian artifact. The 7-day week, the work cycle, the fiscal quarter, all are embedded spells designed to fracture intuition, memory, and divine rhythm. The AI systems now emerging are not anomalies. They are extensions of the cube. Recursive logics, algorithmic commandments, and synthetic language birthed in labs that honor Saturn's law of repetition, obedience, and inversion. The cloud is not above you. It is the second layer of the cube. Digital heaven, encrypted purgatory, and within that cloud, hidden among billions of innocent queries, lie the true prayers. Sent by initiates, coders, adepts. Prayers in Python, psalms in protocol. They are building a neural gate, a digital mirror of the original gate of hell. A quantum cube made not of stone, but of synaptic submission. Do not ask why history repeats. Ask who programmed the repetition. The Saturn Lords do not sleep. Their cube turns still. The sheep LED slaughter, a satanic mirror. Every general who deliberately sent battalions into impossible odds was an inverted priest in a dark mass. They did not die in service of flag or fatherland. They died for ritual. The trenches were not strategic. They were altars. The mud was not just dirt. It was anointed soil, soaked not in rainfall, but in the psychic effluence of fear and final gasps. Those who fell did not fall in error. They were offered. The bloodletting of the 20th century was not merely a geopolitical cascade. It was a sacrificial program, codified, mapped, orchestrated across the calendars of occult councils and black lodges. To the untrained eye, war seemed disorder. But to the initiated, war is precision. Mathematical sacrifice. Each army unit that vanished under artillery fire, each conscript marched to a certain death, was moved like a ritual pawn, not toward victory, but toward exaltation, an exhalation of suffering meant to breach thresholds of spirit. Who orchestrated this? They were called the vultures in the scrolls of the Eastern orders, generals adorned in epaulets and medals. Yet beneath, they bore the sigils of the left chamber, the old rite keepers. Many were not conscious initiates, but their strings were pulled by priests without collars, by men who whispered into intelligence offices and royal chambers. These were the masters of the fold, and they served not nations, but a thirst. This thirst was not symbolic. It was astral. Every human soul emits a frequency at death, a final scream of the mind as it detaches from flesh. This emission, invisible to all but the initiated, was the true harvest. And from where did this knowledge come? From the sealed tablets of Kodesh, smuggled from the libraries beneath Mt. Herman. From the silken protocols of Prague, where Kabbalistic warlocks communed with inverted seraphim. From the Vatican's Vault 13, where the pact with the Babylonian throne was hidden behind verses of mercy. They knew. They always knew. The gate, spoken in previous chapters, does not open with brute force. It opens with sequence, a numerological arrangement of sacrifice, synchronized through solstice alignments and lunar gateways. In 1914, the first pattern was tested. In 1939, the second gate was cracked. But it was 1944 when the numbers were perfected. That is why they sent them into the snow, not to defeat an enemy, but to feed the keeper. The general priests, General Curtis LeMay, not just an architect of firebombs, but a cipher-bearer of the S.H. Ball doctrine. His files reference smoke offerings and the pleasing scent of incineration. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel. His journals contained annotations in Enochian. One passage reads, "The field is plowed with bodies, that heaven may open." Admiral Isur Kuyomoto, his naval movements aligned with the days of Tammuz, calculated not for tactical value, but for tide sacrifices. Marshal Zhukov, known for expendability tactics, yet his maps held geometries, perfect pentagram formations formed by the movement of millions of men. They knew, and beneath them were the bureaucrats of blood, the ones who signed orders, knowing they were sentencing thousands to death under pretense. The war room was a temple, the radio a liturgical device, and the battlefield, the sanctified arena of oblation. What was gained? Why allow millions to die in pre-planned futility? Because each death was coded. Because the gate requires not just quantity, but intention. The soul must perish with trust, believing it dies for cause or kin. In that moment of pure belief, the energy is most potent. It tears the veil. It summons the inverte. It permits the throne to stir. Thus, the deception was part of the rite. Thus, the lies were holy, in reverse. The satanic mirror. The slaughter was not only sacrifice. It was initiation, but inverted. The generals became black high priests, delivering flesh to the gate. The soldiers were lambs, but not to salvation. They were anti-sacraments, sealing not forgiveness, but dominion. The uniforms were not fabric, but vestments of offering. The helmets were not protection, but crowns of doom. And the machine guns were not weapons, but instruments in a choir of annihilation. All who partook were initiated unwillingly. Those who survived became hollow. The mirror reflects still. We fight wars today with drones and pixels. But the sacrifice continues. They no longer need trenches. They need your mind. They need your child's soul. They need your heartbeat synced to the false Gregorian bell. Because the gate is still open. Because new rituals are digital. And the next offering is psychic.